This is Inside Mside, your favorite podcast for all things Morningside. Here's stories from students, alumni, faculty, and more about what makes the Morningside experience so special. Welcome to another edition of Inside Mside, the podcast that brings you everything from alumni, faculty, staff, and students about what's happening on Morningside's campus. And so today is no exception. We have a full table, which I'm very excited about, to talk about everything ag at Morningside. Welcome to the pod. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
No doubt. Well, what I want to do first and foremost for those that are listening, to go around the table, introduce yourself, tell a little bit about your role on campus, or maybe what year you are, what you're studying, maybe hope to get into, and we'll go from there. Dee, you want to start?
I'm Dee McKenna. I manage the school garden. I've been here 6 years. I teach a soils course and just build a relationship with Sodexo and the garden and provide fresh veggies for campus.
My name's Tom Moss. I'm an ag business student here on campus. I'm a sophomore and I'm involved in a lot of things around campus.
I'm Bethany Widman. I'm a senior here on campus. I'm ag business and an agronomy major, and I am the first Morningside on-campus extern, so I am managing the greenhouse this fall.
Oh, wow. Awesome. I didn't even know that tidbit.
Yeah.
That's cool.
My name's Dan Witten. I'm a faculty member, professor, assistant professor, teach a lot of the introductory level courses, ag club advisor. This is my 5th year on campus.
Awesome. Well, welcome to Inside Mside. Like I said, I'm excited to have all of you here. Really, this is an episode that I've been looking forward to because I think the Ag Center, the Rosen Ag Center, is just one of the gems of this campus, especially with its recent completion, expansion, growing off of you see what I did there, pun intended, growing off of the garden and some of the other efforts that we've had here on campus. It's exciting to see it really take shape and to see the students invest so much in this as well and get so much out of it. So I want to just kind of start from a 30,000 foot view, and just really the big question is, with the recent completion of that Rosen Ag Center, really talk to us a little bit about what it means for the program and some of the things that are happening now that that center, that greenhouse and area are really up and running.
Yeah, so for us students, what it means for us is we have a lot more hands-on opportunities. A lot of us, we grow up on the farm and we work with our hands, so it's really important as ag majors we have those opportunities. So we had the garden before, and now we've expanded to the greenhouse, and it's really cool because a lot of us didn't know a whole lot about aquaponics, hydroponics, and it's just kind of a different way that we can learn about how plants grow. Last year I took a class, a crop production class, and we were able to grow like corn and soybeans in there in the middle of winter, which was great because we could track its life cycle, do all that, and that was stuff we couldn't do before that. So it's just, for me, I've loved it so much because it's just been so much hands-on, and like we can do things all throughout the year, not just when it's nice outside. For
sure. Now, before anyone else jumps in on that main question, I want to clarify. Can we talk a little bit? Well, I'm sure there will be other vocabulary or different names and things that we talk about, but in having seen it, I can understand and visualize what you're talking about. But when we say hydroponics and aquaponics, can we just give our audience just a little bit of reference of maybe what we're talking about, what that looks like?
So the aquaponics, we have 2 huge fish tanks that we grow tilapia in. Those fish tanks then supply the nutrients they're kind of like flat beds, and they supply all the nutrients, and we have plants in those that we grow, so like Swiss chard, and a lot of that goes to the calf. And then aquaponics is we mix the nutrients for it, so like the fish supply the nutrients to the plants in the aquaponics. The hydroponics is we mix our own nutrient solutions for that, and we have them in grow towers, which they're kind of hard to picture if you don't know what they look like, but they're basically really tall towers that we plant buttercrunch, romaine lettuce, basil, chives, a bunch of other stuff. So and there's no soil involved in any of it. So that's kind of what makes it kind of unique than just like a normal like greenhouse using soil.
Yeah. So if you can visualize this, it's just kind of like a large tower. How tall are they, you think?
8 foot.
8 foot, somewhere in there?
Yeah.
So like 8 foot, and then you have different like plants, whether it's herbs or lettuce or different things like that, growing out all over on all different sides. And you also have lights too, right? Like, are they like grow light type things or things just to stimulate growth for them?
So they help us so we can produce constantly. So some of the plants they like longer daylight. So obviously here in the Midwest, as we get into the winter months, we have less daylight, and so the lights in the greenhouse, they're set so they are on during the night for a certain amount of time, and then during the day, obviously they turn off. But that way, we can produce year round in there, and we have day-loving plants like lettuce. It likes longer daylight, so we need to have that light from the lights in the greenhouse.
So interesting. Dan, talk to me a little bit about what you think this program means for you in the opening of this from a faculty standpoint.
From a faculty standpoint, it really brings home, when you look at the title of our department, the Applied Ag and Food Studies, it's the complete and total application. I can take a student and talk to them, and 5 minutes later see all that in practice, as opposed to all the just book looking, the sit and get kind of thing. I can take a student from chair to sweating in the 95-degree heat when you're IDing plants, be it in the greenhouse or anywhere else around the Rosen Ag Center. Those opportunities are greatly appreciated and treasured at this point.
For sure. And I got to imagine it's similar that if you're going into healthcare, right? Like our nursing facility, there's a reason that we have the simulation lab. There's a reason that our nursing and other fields are getting that hands-on learning because it's so critical. And so it's cool to see this opportunity then come to ag students, where they can see what they're growing, why it's growing the way that it is, how we can affect its growth pattern, those different things to be better producers overall. I think it's really great. Now that's kind of status quo. I want to take us back to maybe the very beginning in the onset, because I remember the garden being a big part of this campus for a while now. And it was kind of while we were just dreaming of maybe what it could be. I even remember when the garden was over across campus, over on the other side next to the now lacrosse field. So talk to me, Dia, specifically just a little bit about that evolution of the garden and things like that, and kind of where we've come and where you see it going and where we are now with that.
As a master gardener, I always recommend when you start a garden to start small and build on that success, because a big plot of land tilled up can become a weedy mess really fast. And so with that initial grant money we had, 6 or 7 years ago, we started small, and every year the garden expands, and now we're planning up in the outdoor upstairs, up in the classroom, and we're starting our seeds in the greenhouse, and we're able to produce what we want for our garden. And so it did start small and really exploded into this amazing opportunity for our students. And so we're forward thinking, and we're back to the way it always, soil is from the beginning, and knowing how to manage it and live off of it, I think is a quality that everybody needs to have, and especially those in agriculture. So they are able to till the land, plant a seed, nurture it, harvest it, consume it, and learn from that entire process. And now that we have a farm, we can do it with farm equipment. And so we went from this small garden to an entire farm. And I think the number now is like we have the facility. We have a $6 million facility, basically, between the hill, the greenhouse, and the farm.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
From humble beginnings, right? From this little plot over there and growing to be able to have this multi-million-dollar facility where students are really truly getting the hands on. I really think it's important to think about where we've come from, what we had as far as the garden and what we have now with the Rosen Center, Rosen Ag Center. Tom, talk to me a little bit about what this has meant for you. I mean, seeing this program grow, really being in the garden yourself. I know you've worked on a lot of different projects for this, and even some in the future that you and I have talked about that we're excited about. Talk to me about what it's meant for you.
Yeah, so the ag department here has just been crazy amazing for me. Coming from Western Nebraska, coming over here, I just really didn't have very many connections when I started off. But I mean, I'm a sophomore, and I've gotten to do some pretty cool things just coming into this sophomore year. So this last summer, I got to manage our greenhouse. So it was the first summer of production. There was a lot of learning, I can tell you that, a lot of trial and error, but that's how it goes with new facilities, and the rest of this team has really hit on that wonderfully. But also, I mean, we just are moving forward in a lot of different ways. Like I said, I'm an ag business degree, and me and some other students are now creating a brand new grill team, which is going to be a huge asset to us. Just having that entrepreneurial business applied and have us the opportunity to run that type of business. So we're working with you, Alex, with the alumni. So we're super excited about that. But we're also getting to do other events on our own, which is going to teach us a lot of that business aspect and put it into the applied, whether that is the ag department, whether it's business students. We're going to work campus wide to come together, and that way we can continue on with this. I know some other projects I've been involved in is helping with the Cargill outdoor classroom this last summer. We had a test plot with AGP, which is an ag processing facility company that's here in this area. And so we did a research plot with them this last summer, which was amazing. And then, like I said, getting to work in the LAG's greenhouse this last summer is also a crazy experience I never thought I'd have. I came from a livestock background, and so I went from knowing livestock to learning plants. I wouldn't say I know everything about them yet, but I'm definitely getting there. And so I'm very excited about my future and very thankful for the opportunities so far.
You know, I think every time we go into the LAG's greenhouse, we think, I cannot believe I get to work in here.
Mm-hmm.
It is such an amazing facility. There's nothing like it. And I think it's just a pinch you kind of moment. Like we get to be here.
Yeah.
Well, and especially as an alum that was around when that was maybe just a dream or not even an idea that had been planted yet, to then go into that greenhouse, see those grow towers, see the tilapia being raised, like that blows my mind. But really just seeing it, that whole process and how it's evolved. And then, Tom, you touched on something that I think is cool, is thinking about the future and what the possibilities are. I mean, this has been kind of a testament to the business and entrepreneurial spirit of farmers. You know, how can we grow something? How can we sell something? How can we make this to where we're not only feeding America or the world, but then also how we're making a living from doing it? And so you touched on, you know, a couple different things. The first one that I'm excited about as well as the alumni engagement director is really that grill project. And what can we do from an alumni engagement standpoint to really get people excited about breaking bread together? I really believe in the power of that, as do our alumni. And so working with the ag department on the acquisition of this grill, I think is really going to open our eyes and our minds to different ways that we can collaborate moving forward, and just bringing people together. And whether it's chatting about the good old days at Morningside over a brat or a burger or something like that, I think there's so many opportunities, but just to learn from our students doing that.
Well, and I think you hit on it perfectly, Alex. I am kind of weird. I love sitting down with alumni. Like, I love getting to hear their experiences, hear their stories, what their industry looked like, what they did, and getting to have this grill team that's coming up. Me and some other amazing students, we're all working together. We have a couple of events planned, but I think the biggest thing is alumni, like, please come out. Like, we want to host you guys. Let us show you as students what we're doing here on campus, and kind of just let us do what we do. Like, let us show off a little bit, show a little bit of Morningside spirit. We're super excited to have these events, and we're super excited to host you guys as well. So.
Well, and that's one of the things I'm looking forward to. I mean, homecoming is right around the corner. We'll make sure to try to drop this episode before homecoming. And it is one of those things where if it's after homecoming, hopefully alumni are taking advantage of it. We have those tours, you know, where they can really maybe be allowed to see at least a little bit into what our operation looks like. I know we're working with Tom and some individuals on that. So I'm excited about what that's going to look like. Thinking also, though, about the future, the Cargill Outdoor Classroom. Talk to me a little bit about what that next step is going to look like, and what is that? What is an outdoor classroom, and what does it look like?
The Cargill Outdoor Classroom 8-10 months ago was a playground,
Mhm.
covered 90% with blacktop.
Mhm.
So maybe I should back up a little bit, maybe more like 12 months. 2 summers ago, we tried sweet corn on it. This last summer, Tom and I worked with AGP. The outdoor classroom to me is a perfect green space in town in an urban setting where students can still go get their hands dirty
Mhm.
outside of the garden type atmosphere. Agronomic plots, um, uh, conversation, throwing spaghetti at the wall is included, bramble fruits, urban uh, orchard is the word I'm looking for, possible high tunnel type atmosphere greenhouse. We're actually working with NRCS on some of their projects, and we're working to connect our students with those types of jobs. And we've really, in the last week or two, kind of opened up a couple avenues with them that I think will be really good for both the local district office as well as our students. It's great opportunity for students. Both Tom and Bethany have had a chance to get their hands dirty. We've leased a tractor, so we've actually got students putting themselves in a tractor to that might not have otherwise done it, and you wouldn't see that in an urban or even our university 2 years ago. That wouldn't have happened, and now I've got kids knocking on my door. Can I come mow the lawn so I can sit in the tractor, kind of thing? So those types of opportunities are huge. We're investigating possibly a terrace, and which would then look at bringing in a pollinator garden, which would tie in very well. So the opportunities on our little acre of what used to be playground are all right now built on reestablishing soil so that maybe they are agronomic test plots, or they're potato plots or tomato plots, or it's a lot of opportunities.
Well, and just to orientate maybe some people that further, that are listening to the pod, we're talking about the chunk of land that was next to the Plex, and it was formerly, what's the name of the school? I'm Longfellow. Thank you. I was like, gosh, I was thinking just about what it was, and I was like, I don't want to get that wrong. So Longfellow, and it was an elementary, right, back then. So if you're remembering that, that's where this site is. That's really so special. And then just up a little bit up Garrettson is where our garden is, our outdoor garden facility.
The Longfellow school footprint is now the greenhouse, and what used to be the playground in the parking lot where they played tetherball is now the outdoor classroom. And it's really been interesting as we work to rehab some of that material from pea gravel, blacktop to usable agronomic and or vegetable space.
Yeah, well, and one of the things, Dan, when you were talking about just where we've come and what we're doing and what our vision is for the outdoor classroom, the word that has really struck me lately in this new chapter of Morningside's history is innovative. We are really focused on being innovative and training our students to be prepared for the future, which is something that I really get excited about, because it's whether we're looking at farming practices, gardening practices, or even just the from hydroponics, aquaponics, those types of things. I think a lot of people think that's going to be a part of the future of farming and feeding the world. And so it's cool to allow our students to be on that cutting edge to make sure that they have a competitive advantage from some of those other institutions.
I think the application opportunities are endless in terms that our students are getting a glimpse at things that other universities they might not. And when they did, it might be on their way out the door as opposed to their first and or second years. It might be 3 or 4 years down the line. The curriculum really does lend itself very well to, again, that application and that get your hands dirty, and the experiential learning side of things, I think is one big selling point that I talk to students all the time about.
Well, and just being so active and engaged and involved in the process. I agree with you. Tom talked about the grilling club and some of that. Bethany, why don't you talk to me a little bit about the co-curricular opportunities? Because I think we've touched on some of them, but there are so many things and ways to get involved in the ag program, which I think get people really excited because of not only the hands-on learning, but geez, you're active and you're doing things, whether you're selling product or otherwise. I mean, talk to me about the importance of that in this program.
Yep. So, so the girls team is our newest one that we have in the ag department. We also have ag club and garden club. And for me, I love these two groups because it's not just for ag students.
Yeah.
It's a way for us to teach people who aren't in the ag department. So we had our first meeting and we did both ag and garden club together, and we had, oh gosh, I don't know,
A
50
room
50
full,
yeah.
people,
Yeah.
50
Yeah.
people there. And we're like, this is great, because a lot of them weren't ag students. And so it's just, for me, I love it because it's a way we can show them what we love to do in the ag department. You know, a lot of them, they don't know where their food comes from. They don't know, you know, how a tomato is grown. And they can go out in the garden. With the garden club, we spend a lot of time out in the garden, harvesting, planting in the spring for planting, picking bouquets. Like, they learn the importance of our pollinator flowers, what those are doing for the rest of the garden. They're pollinating our tomatoes, our potatoes, and why those are so important. The garden club, the ag club, I love it because it's a way that we can go out into the community too. One of the big things we're doing right now is Feed the Farmer. So we work with several different FFA chapters around Northwest Iowa, and we make bag lunches for farmers, and the FFA chapters come and pick them up, and then they go out to the different elevators during harvest, and they hand those bag lunches to the farmers when they're waiting in the truck lines. So I think it's really great because it not only gets our name out, but it also makes connections with people in the community. I don't know, coming from a farm family, my brothers have been in the line. They're like, we got our bag lunch from you guys. And I'm like, that's so great. Like, it makes a farmer's day. And so I love that. We do a lot of different things on campus. I know Ag Club, we have helped with freshman orientation stuff on campus. You know, I think one thing we're very good at, showing with the girl team, we're good at eating in the ag department, having good food. And so, like you said, food, it connects people, you know, sitting down and having a meal. And so that kind of draws people into the ag department and kind of gives a glimpse of what we're trying to do. And
well, and it's just so cool, like you said, that's one of the things I love about these clubs is that it's non-ag majors as well. And so you're really opening people's eyes to what the possibilities are. I mean, I'm a home gardener, right? Like, I love growing different things in my garden, but just learning things from you or learning tips or what you're doing differently, and to have that exposure for students, I think is great. Whether they're, you know, a photography major or a business major, you know, maybe they grew up on a farm, so they missed that aspect of it and still want to get their hands dirty, maybe, and be a part of something. I think it's cool.
Well, and not even like the different majors, but also internationally. Like, we have a lot of international students here on campus. And so connecting with them, because agriculture, like, we're one big broad thing, but we do a lot of different practices from wherever you're at. And so getting to talk with Europeans to South Americans to wherever in the world that some of these students are coming from at Morningside, like, that's a huge thing that we get to learn that side of ag that we don't see in Western Nebraska, Western Iowa, whatever it is. Like, there's just so much more that we can learn from them, and then they get to see our practices. And so that's growing not only us as students, but that's growing our department as a whole.
Yeah. No, I think that's a great point. Dee, we were talking earlier just a little bit about, I love the community connection, and Bethany talked about that a little bit, right? About how we're connecting with the community and going out into the community, whether it's Feed the Farmer or otherwise. One of the things that always blows my mind are the amount of food we are talking about. And so we're talking about, for those that also don't know on the pod, we actually have a partnership. I say we as if I have ownership. The Morningside Garden, under the direction of Dee, really focus on not only producing this, but making sure that we're able to consume it and we're able to give it back. And so people are actually eating all this. You've partnered with Sodexo, and even other community groups. Can you talk a little bit about, gosh, the poundage and those connections and everything that you've been able to forge?
Yeah, so we have a great working relationship with Chef Gunn over in the CAF, and just who doesn't love fresh, and we're able to provide fresh. So
grown however many yards right in front.
So just for example, on Monday we harvested 101 pounds of tomatoes. That's a lot of maters. We have Romas, cherries, and beef masters, and so they're able to use those on burgers in the salad bar. We have some pear-shaped ones that Tammy is like, they just love these. This summer we had cucumbers, which go really well in the salad bar as well. Up in the Rosen Ag Center, we have 21 rows of potatoes that we have planted. We have not started harvesting that. Our garden is based on kind of when we're on campus, and we wanted a later harvest. And so actually the June term planted those in June, and we will start harvesting potatoes next week. And, you know, we're up to 8,000 pounds harvested from the garden this year. We do.
Isn't that incredible?
Yeah, it is. I know, right? And I always feel like, oh, we should probably have more. You know, how are we managing for this rate? Yeah. But that's one thing we do is we do problem solving. How can we do this better? Are we providing a product that the CAP wants, that students want to eat? Is the timing right? And so our students are able to work on problem solving and planning and working with another group of people on their needs and desires. Tom this summer was able to connect with businesses in town to provide herbs and lettuce for their businesses. But the tours, I can't even tell you how many tours we've done. Next week we have a homeschool group coming for 2.5 hours. They're going to do some hands-on activities in the greenhouse. We're going to do some stuff in the garden. Again, that's part of just like who we are. We're an education department as well. And so we're able to educate the community on the importance of agriculture and how we sustain ourselves and the environmental things that we do. On Thursday, we have a group of master gardeners coming through. Everybody wants to get inside the greenhouse. Everybody can see the outside. Everybody wants to get inside. And so, you know, and master gardeners are made up of just community, a wide range of community people. So they come and they go home and they talk about what Morningside is doing. That information gets out to their grandkids and parents, and what a great recruiting opportunity that we have. But we do have a lot of amazing partnerships with the agriculture industry, with the food industry, and just with our neighbors, the community around us.
Yeah, it's impressive, the network that has been built, you know, centered around food. And I love the partnership with Sodexo. Like, I think that is the coolest thing, where you have students from the onset helping grow the produce that's being served to other and their fellow students in the cafeteria. I just think that's such a beautiful circle. And so it's really cool that we're embracing that and that we've been able to work with Sodexo. Tom, I do have a lot of fun talking to you about some of those partnerships in the restaurants. Talk to me a little bit about what that was like over the summer.
Yeah, so we learned a lot in business class about cold calling, and so I got to experience that type of industry. But really, with managing the greenhouse, we had a lot of produce this summer that I was like, you know what, like, we're growing, we might as well be selling this to somebody. And so I took it as a project for my internship to get us out in the community. Like, we work well with the cafeteria during the school year, but I also wanted to work well with the community as a whole. So I went out to a few different businesses, a couple of restaurants in town, a couple of restaurants across the river. And so we really just kind of marketed our product. I went out there, I took samples of everything I had in the greenhouse, and I took them to them, and I said, here's what we do, here's how we do it. I gave them tours through the greenhouse just to show them really what we were doing. That way they knew how their produce was coming from us. And so I thought that was a huge learning opportunity for me to get to go into those restaurants. One, see how they use it, and two, just get to have that marketing side of it. As a ag business major, once again, like getting to apply those business selling procedures that we learn in class, getting to show them off was a huge asset for me.
Well, and right now, there's such a movement with farm to table.
Yeah, that farm to table type thing where, I mean, even local produce is huge in the industry right now. And so, one, it's a benefit for us because we get to say, hey, we're giving to our community. But two, they get the benefit of saying, hey, we're sourcing locally. We have local produce coming in, whether that is basil, other vegetables, lettuces, whatever it is. They get that local produce, and it's a lot fresher. They always were telling me all the time when I came in, they're like, Tom, like, our customers love this because it is so much fresher, because it's straight out of the greenhouse, straight out of the garden to wherever it's going, same day delivery type thing. And so it's a really nice thing that I got to do.
Well, and I tell you what, working here, I've been the benefactor of some of the bounty that you all have raised.
Yeah.
It's awesome. I tell you what, the butter lettuce is just incredible. Like, I'm a big lettuce wrap type of person. And so whether it's on BLTs or as lettuce wraps, I think that stuff is superb. And then also we recently did, Dee, you were talking about the different community groups that are coming through the greenhouse. You even did an open house where I was able to participate. It was for, mostly staff and faculty, people like that. But open it up for a pesto party, if you will, where we got to make pesto.
Yeah.
And it was just so great to see even people that work on this campus that maybe had not yet been through the greenhouse to not only see the operation, but then to be able to get the basil in order to make this fresh pesto and bring it home. And let me tell you, the recipes I came up with to use this pesto was so cool.
Well, and even us as students, like students as a whole, we get to have ownership for what's coming out of the greenhouse, whether it's coming from the garden. We get to have ownership for those things because I'm taking an agriculture economics class right now. And once a day a week, we go out to the garden and we're picking produce. And so that no matter what type of agriculture class it is, we really get to apply what we're learning. And I think that's a huge part of the ag department as a whole is how can we apply what we're doing, because it is called applied ag and food studies. And so we really get to do that. All of our professors hit on that. And so I think that's a huge benefit for us as students as a whole.
Yeah, Dan made the point early on that I think the application portion of this, the learning by doing, the whole idea around experiential learning, I think has just been so critical and so great to see. We've touched on a lot of different things. I'm excited about not only what's happening now. Obviously, you have the Cargill Outdoor Classroom and then the acquisition of that farmland. I think the sky's the limit. There are a lot of ideas and opportunities for us to grow. I'm excited for our alumni to be a part of it. As I said before, if you're stopping back on campus, if you're looking for a tour, please make sure to reach out to my office. I would love to coordinate that so we can make sure to really fully show off, as we said, right? Show off some of the amazing things that our students and our faculty are doing. The last question before we wrap up that I really wanted to touch on was maybe people are wondering out there, we had an ag program back quite a while back, and then now we're really bringing it back and it's thriving. Talk to me a little bit from both a faculty standpoint, but as well as a student standpoint. Why not go to a big land grant university? You hear about some of those large schools that have this seemingly endless budget, of what they're able to do. What makes us unique? What makes Morningside agriculture programs so unique?
I think a big part of it is our size. For me, I love it that I can go into Dee's office or Dan's office anytime I have a question. Like at a big university, you may have 200 people in a class or more, and you don't get that personal relationship with your professors. So I love that because, if I ever have a question or help with anything, I can just go in and talk to them. But I think also a lot of it too, like we talked about it a lot, we have a lot of hands-on. Like we are out there all the time in the garden, in the greenhouse, in the outdoor classroom. We go on tours to different places, which is really great. We were small enough that even though we're a small university in Sioux City, we have a big impact on this community. And so it's great for us as students. We have so many connections and pathways to go once we're outside of college. Morningside is great. Like it's very respected and known in the community, and I love that. But yeah, it's just really the personal connections we can make with our professors and just the hands-on that I think really makes us stand out, even though, we're smaller and we all have a passion for agriculture and to continue growing our department. And I think, that's a lot of the big things that really make us stand out and what makes me love this department and this school so much.
Yeah. Dan, what do you think as a faculty member? What makes us unique? What makes us stand out?
Opportunity that you might not have otherwise gotten at a big university. Again, first year student is conducting research almost, if they really wanted to, from the time they stepped on campus to the time they step off campus, be it introductory all the way to some sort of scientific in-depth process, be it the ag department, be it any other department on campus. I think the ability to get in and be active from day one till day graduation is huge here. And by opportunity, I don't just mean research. I mean, we can demonstrate urban agriculture. We can demonstrate from small scale gardening to the Cargill outdoor classroom to now onboarding 75 acres of potential agronomic crops, and what that looks like in the future, I think is huge. It's not very often you can pass a student on campus and have a student go, "Oh, that's my professor and such."
Yeah.
And say, "Hi, that's my student in this class." Excuse me. That small hometown feel while still being a university, and knowing our students can go overseas on May terms and those types of things, and do it in a small community, I think is big.
Yeah.
What we have such an alumni that will reach out to us and say, include us. I think the connections, be it from freshman to 10-year, 30-year, 40-year alumni, is huge in a place like this. It's that environment is key, I believe.
Well, their investment as well. I think
Yes.
has been critical.
Yeah,
time.
and that's what I was kind of going to hit on is just like the alumni that I have gotten to meet in my first year and a quarter almost now. Like I haven't been here long, but just the connections I've gotten to make have been amazing. Like the opportunities I've been gotten to have, but also I think what's cool about us from a student aspect is our externship. A huge part of our program, our senior year, we start that junior to senior summer and then go through that next fall semester. We go out on what's called externships. So Bethany kind of hit on it, but what really it is we go out into the workforce for basically 6 months and say, hey, get us out there, get us a job, and basically get us learning in what we want to do. We walk out more times than not with a job offer. We get to see if that's really what we want to do. More than anything, it's a trial run to see, hey, this is what I've been planning on. Is this actually what I want to get to do? So,
and it's a full-time basis, which is just wild.
You're out of the
to think about that. It's like, well, an internship, maybe you have that and you have additional classes and things like that. This is really a full-time opportunity to get immersed into a job site and truly have that opportunity. I think you're exactly right.
Said, it's so valuable. Sometimes you get out of college and you think this is what you want to do, and then you get a job in that and you're like, this is actually not what I want to do. And so externship, I'm on externship right now. I had an internship this summer. I learned so much. I enjoyed it a lot. And I'm on externship right now, managing our greenhouse. And it's just kind of helped me be like, this maybe isn't the path I want to go, and maybe this is more of the focus I want to go on now. So I think it's very, very valuable for us as students. We have more of a direction, this is what we want to do, and no, this is actually what we want to do.
And just be assured. Assured and feel confident that you made the right decision.
Yeah, the workforce is really looking towards experience more than anything. And Morningside says experience matters here. And so that's just one way that us as students, as we graduate on our resume, we can say, hey, I have experience in this. And so when we are applying for that next job, it's just looking really nice for us going into the interview.
Dee, any last thoughts that you have that really set us apart? I mean, like we said, you've been a part of this from a small operation to now producing thousands of pounds of produce.
I think it comes to faculty. I think our faculty in the ag department, our number one priority is our student and their success. I love that Melissa Nelson goes in, she's our extern coordinator, and she's like, as a freshman, what is your dream job? And she helps them get through college and find that path that leads them to their dream job. And so I think our faculty is first priority is the student. And we build relationships. We help them walk to adulthood, and we're able to do that because we see them on a regular basis. We interact with them during class time, during lab time. We see them at football games and volleyball games. We're able to build those connections, and we want to see them succeed. And so I really feel like the faculty that we have in place right now, I think our students know how much we truly care about them and how we're going to advocate for them. And we're going to see them through so that they succeed. Life happens. You're a freshman and a sophomore, you're 18, 19 years old, and you don't really know exactly what you're getting into. And we can provide that mentoring, that coaching, that advising on a one-on-one level that will help them meet their potential, even exceed their potential, and get that dream job and be proud to be Morningside alumni, and they can talk about their experience as a positive one. And so I'm going to go back to that. I really feel like our faculty makes a big difference.
I tell you what, this episode has got me even more excited about the ag program
Did you want to
than I
enroll?
previously was. Exactly. I'm ready for a second degree, maybe third, looking into those programs. Well, I appreciate all of you coming to be on the podcast today. I really think it means a lot to me to learn more, and I know it means a lot to our listeners to really be able to have some insight as to what we're doing and where we see ourselves going in the future. I think that's inspiring. And I really would underline and highlight once again, if you're ever coming back to campus, you're interested in doing a tour or having that opportunity, seeing what that looks like. Let's really just set that up. Let's set that up and start that conversation so you can see how you can be a part of the future of the Morningside Ag Department. I really appreciate the time that all of you gave being on this episode of Inside Mside. Until the next episode, remember, if you're listening, subscribe, follow along. Make sure to check out those fresh episodes. And as a little teaser, if you're looking forward to learning more about the Ag Department, make sure to check out this upcoming edition of the Morningsider. There's going to be some in-depth analysis and articles. You might even, if you're watching the video stream, recognize a face on the front cover. So, so make sure to watch for that as well. Coming out in hard copy as well as digital online. So thanks for joining us.